Welcome to the Life Reset Masterclass. And in this class, our goal today is going to be to begin the healing process, to begin the process of rebuilding and rising. Um, because a lot of times we are just, um, because we're struggling, we are not able to rise anywhere, right? We might be struggling each and every day in life with just whatever it is that we're dealing with. So that's our goal for today. Welcome. And you all know my name, but for those that might not know me, my name is Carrie Vasquez, and it is a true honor to have you all here today. I had to put in my little disclaimer that I am not a licensed medical mental health professional. This is information that I share. It's just personal experience. It's education that I have learned over the years. It's faith based principles, and it's intended for guidance and encouragement. So, if needed, you need to seek your own professional advice if you have any specific needs. So, a little bit about me. I love God, my husband, my five grandkids. Actually, it's seven now. I need to update this, but it's seven, well, children, but seven grandchildren. That's why I didn't put the number for grandchildren, because I knew that it was growing. But I am a podcast host to the Rebuild You podcast. And even though it's been on pause for some time, I am excited about restarting that. I'm an author, as you all know, to recreate your love. I have a Heal Thy Life vision planner, which I have a stack sitting right here. And currently writing my second book called Warrior Matriarch. So before a lot of you all met me, but I had experience in human resources. My HR experience was actually about 15 years. And then I worked with coaching and developing and helping people just in life, in relationships, and in business. So, a fun fact about me, which again, you may know, is I love going on missions trips. So, I went to Honduras twice, I went to Colombia this year, and this year I actually have been asked to lead or be a part of like running two additional missions trips, one another in Honduras again, and the second one in Costa Rica. So I have not decided whether or not I am going to do those. I'm in conversations right now with hubby because I have been asked to basically take on Honduras and Costa Rica and actually take healing training and classes to the children and the teachers who are teaching and helping the children in these countries. So, training them and then doing sessions with the children along with the teachers. So, it is something that I love and it's a passion of mine. And I'm praying that it's where God calls me to be this year. But there's definitely a lot of factors that go into it. So, something you all can pray for me on or about. So, a little bit more about my story is why I created this masterclass. So, it was one of the hardest seasons of my life. I was facing a divorce, raising five kids. I was facing my second divorce, and I was raising five kids. I was completely exhausted trying to hold it all together. I remember the day that I was on my knees. So when I had moved out, which I'll get into a little bit, but I just remember being on my knees one day, crying out to God, asking Him to help me. And all I just wanted was His will because I had been outside of His will for some time. And I knew that that was not it. And as I began my healing journey, I went through these steps that I'm going to share today and that I share in my book. And I just remember telling God that the pain I had gone through would not be in vain. So here I am. So 13 years ago, this is a picture of us. We must have been going somewhere. This is usually what our car looked like. We looked like one big happy family. We had five kids, but this was really a lie we were living. I had cheated on my husband. I lived in guilt and in shame. And eventually I just took the kids and I moved out and I filed for divorce. A little bit of story to that is that I was extremely frustrated in my marriage. There were a lot of things going on, and it was even things like I hated the house we lived in, and I could not wait to move out of this house. Um, and Carlos did not want to move out of the house. And so there were just so many things. That was one of many that caused a lot of frustration in our marriage. And we had gone through, which, let's see, yeah, we had gone through 4 years of counseling and therapy prior to me leaving. So it wasn't a decision that was made suddenly. We had really been trying to work things out. But life just got harder as a single mom. I was a single mom of 5 kids. My son had many behavior issues and challenges. I was also taking care of my family at the time. At one point, my parents had to move in with me and my 5 kids. My mom had fallen downstairs, broken her heel, and her house had a lot of stairs. So she had to move in with us. And my sister, who also lived with them and had 2 girls, 2 little girls, she would spend a lot of time at our house too because she wasn't, you know, not that she wasn't left home alone, she was an adult, but it was a package deal. So for a period of time, my house was fuller than full. Uh, Carlos also relocated out of state at this time. So he got a job offer in South Carolina and he took it. He took it with the hopes that we could eventually start our life over in South Carolina and just be away. But this became a relocation that lasted about 2 years. So it was really all too much for me to carry. He would come every other week to spend time with the kids. And I was truly drowning. I remember one day my son was acting up. It was the middle of a snowstorm. And it was a winter. We had gotten like, we get like these really bad winters every couple years. So this was one of those winters. Thank God I had an Armada SUV, so they're big. But I just remember in the middle of the snowstorm getting in the truck and just driving around the neighborhood because I just could not be in the house anymore. I couldn't take it. And I remember pulling over and just like vomiting from how upset I was. And that was the first time that had ever happened to me. And I was like, this just has to stop. Like, I can't do this anymore. So in between all of this, because I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but basically, this went on for almost 2 years. And the day before our divorce, well, Carlos had asked if we could have one last date. And we had that last date the day before our divorce. And we sat on the couch. And at this point, I had moved into a townhouse with the kids. I was in a house and then we moved into a townhouse. And he asked for one last date. And he asked me if it was truly what I wanted, was the divorce. And I had shared with him that no, that I didn't know what I wanted, but I wanted God's will. And this went back to the day that I was on my knees, just kind of crying out to God, saying, I can't do this anymore. And I expressed to him that I just could not imagine us working it out. And he just encouraged me to have faith that day. And so I said yes. But I wasn't really saying yes to him. I was saying yes to God because I truly could not imagine. The next day, we went to finish registration for our daughter at school. And I just remember him reaching down and holding my hand and me thinking, oh my God, like, what am I doing back here again? I said I would never get back with him. Why am I back here? And I know you all, or some of you know Carlos, and you know the Carlos today. Carlos before was still amazing. He was a great man, an amazing man. But those 2 years of us being separated were so intentional. And I believe that it was God. He had stuff he needed to heal. I had stuff I needed to heal. And it really was that separation that began our healing journey. And we started to really seek God and also try to understand why we were even in the place that we were in. So we get back together and we start working it out. And there were definitely days that I still asked God, like, are you sure this was what I was supposed to do? And the answer was always yes. So instead of asking or questioning God anymore, I started to really continue to dive deeper in this journey of why do I do the things that I do? Why was I living in this cycle of, being unfaithful? Because the story goes deeper. I was unfaithful in my first marriage after 10 years of marriage. And of course, I, want to justify it by saying he was unfaithful to me at 2 years in, or he did all the things he did, but it's not even about that. It was about why was I unfaithful after 10 years of marriage? If the marriage was over, it should have been over, right? And so I really had to dive in to understand the why behind my actions and what I was doing. So I was as I dove in and began to understand. I went to Tony Robbins events. I took multiple trainings and classes and all the things, and it took me to creating this love book called Recreate Your Love. So in 2017, I created this workbook. I started having boot camps for women who were struggling in their marriages, and I ran private Facebook groups to help women. And yeah, that's where it really all started with the book. So the reality was that I did not even love myself. Therefore, it was impossible for me to truly love anyone else. Love before healing was a transactional act for me. So it was always about what am I getting out of it, or what do I need to give you because we're in this transactional relationship. This is what love meant to me at the time. So today I want to show you how healing will bring true love, joy, and fulfillment. So, if you've been going through the motions, but deep down you know this isn't it, just know it isn't it. If that's what you're feeling, it is. You have discernment, and that's why you are feeling something is off. But it doesn't mean that you're not broken. It doesn't mean you're broken. Sometimes we get stuck in these cycles. I would always describe it as like the hamster wheel of life. But today we're here to break these cycles. So I want to just introduce some anchors, which you may be familiar with already. But these are some of the things that have helped me over the years. And that's breathing. So just taking deep breaths and doing, which you may know, the box breathing, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, but just taking deep breaths. I realized as I'm on this journey that I did not breathe very often, not deep breaths. I was always shallow breathing. It was like this constant survival mode. If you think of yourself like when you're running and you're just trying to like get any breath you can, if you're out of breath and out of shape, right? That's what it felt like. So learning to breathe was huge for me. And it has helped me through many, many difficult moments. The reason I introduce these and I call them the anchors is because you might feel triggered, or you might feel something, right, pulling on you as I go through these slides and I talk about different things. So I just want to encourage you to take a moment and to breathe. You can always mute your laptop, your phone. You can take a moment, meditate. If there's, I encourage everyone to have an anchor scripture. So I know for me, I've shared that a lot of times I would think of the scripture of, Lord, take my thoughts captive, because I would have thoughts that would come and I'm like, this is not God. And I would just ask God to take my thoughts captive. And that was one of my anchor scriptures. But focusing on truth. So meditation and prayer is a second thing. Focusing on truth. Pick one, close your eyes, repeating that truth in your mind and praying the truth. So I gave two examples. Like, know in all these things that we are more than conquerors through him who loves us. Definitely an anchor scripture that I've used. And do not be conformed, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So I prayed many a times, Lord, renew my mind, transform me, Lord. I know that I am more than a conqueror. So whatever it is that's coming against me right now, I am more than a conqueror through you. So remembering these truths, and then gratitude. So picking three things that you're grateful for. So sometimes just that anchoring, that grounding of saying, I'm really, really struggling in this moment, but I have things I can be grateful for. Sometimes it might just be, I'm grateful for this chair that I'm sitting in. It's soft, it's fuzzy, and it's comfortable. I am grateful for this pillow behind my back to give me support. I'm grateful for the roof over my head. I'm grateful for the air in my lungs. It makes me feel safe. It makes me feel secure. And why does it make you feel this way? It makes me feel this way because it makes me know that I'm not in danger. I'm not, it's not an unsafe environment or space. So I am grateful for that. So these are just some things and tools that I want to give you, just as we're going through these slides. All right. All right. So tonight is your reset. Are you ready? You'll learn why you're feeling stuck, what's keeping you there, and how to move forward. So, step one, I changed these up a little bit from my book. So, if you've read my book or you have it, you'll see them. The titles are different. There's a reason for it, but it's basically all the same. All the same. So, basically, number one is let it go for real. So, it's hard, but your freedom depends on it. So the first step is all about letting go. It's about forgiveness. And it's not something that's that easy as just saying, "Hey, let it go, forgive." It's what is on this screen. But it's definitely a process. It's a process, but it's important. And if you can get to this place that you remember that forgiveness releases you. And I'm sure you have heard this many a times, that forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is not saying that what was done to you was okay in any way, shape, or form. Because a lot of times we hesitate or we don't forgive because we feel like we are releasing them, when in reality, when we are releasing ourselves. Forgiveness gives you freedom to live in your purpose. This is your first reset. So, without forgiveness, it is really hard. I want to say impossible, but I won't. It's very hard for you to live in your purpose. So, unforgiveness will keep you stuck, will keep you trapped, and it's not going to allow you to really walk in purpose. If you are walking in purpose and you're also walking in unforgiveness, you're not walking in your fullest level of purpose. There's so much more that God has for you. Unforgiveness keeps you stuck. Unforgiveness can be connected to your unmet needs as a child. That's a loaded statement, which is an area that you may want. I didn't say this in the beginning, but hopefully you all have like your journals or paper, pen, and you're making notes, because unforgiveness can be connected to your unmet needs as a child. So, for example, I struggled with my relationship with my mom as a child. My mom and I right now, we are very close. I love her dearly. There was a period of time that I could not talk about my mother without having this knot in my throat and just like get really emotional and cry. And if I do get emotional now, it's more about the gratitude that I live in of where our relationship is today. But it is also, there's a piece of the grieving that happens, because not because of the mother she was to me, but because I have learned of the mother that she had, my grandmother, who we love and adore. She passed on, but we loved her dearly. It's more so the grieving, the realization that she also did not, what she didn't have as a child. But when we start to realize that unforgiveness can be linked to things that we didn't have as a child. So there were times, and it could be really weird. So the example that I want to use for that is my mother was not, our home was not a hugging home. It was not an affectionate home. We are Puerto Ricans, so we always naturally give a hug and a kiss when we meet each other, when we see each other. But it was not something that was the affection was not happening every day. So I know as an adult, while I do love affection and affection is important to me, I noticed that many times if I was triggered, if I was upset, the last thing I wanted was a hug. I did not want to be touched. I wanted to be left alone. And I had to learn that that was a coping mechanism that I had, I guess, because I felt rejection from my mom. Now, as an adult, whatever has made me mad, upset, triggered me, whatever, that has caused me to feel rejection. And my response is don't touch me. I don't want to be touched. I don't want affection right now. And understanding that really truly helped me to heal these areas of me that was holding on to unforgiveness. You can't heal what you're holding on to. Forgiveness isn't approval, it's release. I had to forgive others and myself. It all starts with you. So, throughout all of these slides, throughout my book, I always start, there's a part of processing, and it always starts with you. So many times we want to think about what is wrong in someone else, and not so much that we just want to point the finger, but we're truly just not seeing what is going on in us. But when we can start to look at us first, looking in the mirror, identifying what is it that I need to change, what is it that I need to work on, so many times that will help the relationship or the issue that you're dealing with because you've dealt with you first. So always start with you. Letting go of guilt, shame, negative thoughts, and the lies that you tell yourself is key. And this is where most people get stuck, trying to do it alone. I will definitely say that this is when I was mega stuck. I thought I can grab these kids, move out of this house, go move into a house that I like, which we did. My kids loved the house that we lived in when we moved out. I even had a daughter that was like, thank you so much for moving out. It was a very stressful environment that we were living in because we needed healing. So there were really some great times, but I was so stuck because I was trying to do it all alone. And it took a lot. Sometimes we go through things and we don't realize that God is trying to get our attention, and we just keep going and going and going, doing it on our own, thinking we got it. And sometimes it takes a lot. If you're anything like me, I am stubborn. So sometimes it takes a lot to get to a place that you realize you cannot do it alone. So let go for real. Let's take a moment. Let's take some of those really deep breaths if you haven't already. Let's take a moment to process. Have you processed forgiveness? I want you to think about making a forgive it list. This is part of the process. I want to check in with you to see how you're really doing. And I want you to, at the end, and this is not going to be at the end of every section, but I just encourage gratitude practice at the end of every section when you're processing this, after tonight and you're going through what we talk about. How's everyone doing? Good? All right. 2. Drop the scorecard. True love is not transactional. Unconditional love, to love with no strings attached, no expectations, and no limitations. This is your second reset. And this one, it may be just as harder than forgiveness. Forgiveness, I think, is really top. But this one can be so hard for people because this is where people are like, yeah, right, no expectations, you have lost your mind. And I really dug into this one when I wrote about it. And here are some scriptures that I pulled that I just want to share today. But put your expectations on God. I learned for all these years, I was having all these expectations, expecting Carlos to be my God, to be my husband, expecting things of him that were so unrealistic. And I write in my book, like, what is a realistic expectation? To you, oh wow, and I wrote expectations all kinds of wrong. But I know, Dr. Heather. But what are you putting, what is realistic to you is not, what is realistic to you may not be realistic to someone else. Jeremiah 17:5 says, thus says the Lord, cursed is the man who trusts in man and makes flesh his strength, whose heart turns away from the Lord. And Psalm 62:5, it says, let all that I am wait quietly before God, for my hope is in him. So having your hope, having your expectations in God will eliminate a lot of frustration, disappointment, a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. Conditional love is where have you, so ask yourself, where have I been loving with conditions? What have my expectations been? What would love look like without control? So there are things that you can keep doing, start doing, or stop doing. So what do you do well when you love someone, when you are in a relationship? What do you do well in your job? So sometimes this is not about marriage. Sometimes this is, I am struggling with my job. I am struggling in my workouts. Whatever it is that you are struggling to accomplish, whatever it is that you're struggling and being in this like cycle of it's just not working out. What am I doing well? What do I need to start doing? And what do I need to stop doing? And so many times the stop, what you need to stop doing is what's really keeping you from being able to move forward and to progress and to grow. All right. So comparison a lot of times is the thing that comes into this conditional love to the expectations. So sometimes we are comparing like, well, so and so, their grass is greener. Well, so and so has the nicer car. So and so has this amazing body and I want my body to look like hers. So I expect this to work like this, right? So do you judge or compare yourself to others? Are your relationships transactional, even if it's for a thank you? How are you really doing? And are you looking for God in all the wrong places and people? That's a big one for me. All right, 3. And we are going to take a pause after this. And then I'm just going to check in with all of you. I'm trying to be mindful of our time. So, number 3 is all on communication, but it's speak up and listen well. Your voice and your heart matter. So, if I go back really quick, a lot of times our realistic or unrealistic expectations are something that we haven't truly communicated. So if we're really honest with ourselves, Sometimes we have these expectations of people or expectations of things, but we haven't truly communicated what it is that we even desire, right? So we need to be able to communicate well so that there could be an understanding of this is what I desire. This is what I want. This is what I need. And then there needs to be that understanding of can that other person give you those things, right? So I had to have this conversation with Carlos years ago, right? These are some of the things I want. Some of the things was I would like things fixed in a timely manner because sometimes it could be years and the stuff could just sit undone for years. And he would get upset because I would call my dad and my dad would come in and fix it in a day. And when I was a little girl, my I would help my dad fix things. So I a lot of times will take the sink apart and do it myself, right? So these were just some of the things that caused a disruption in the relationship. But when the communication was, I would really appreciate it. This is what I want for things to get fixed in a timely manner. And we'll talk about that timeline, right? This is the timeline. I need it done. I do the same thing with my children. Hey, I really need the bathroom cleaned by this time. Can you do it? It might be no, I cannot do it by that time. Okay. What is a realistic time that you can get it done in? And then the decision needs to be made. Does that work for me? Right? Is that time frame doable for me? Can I work within their time frame? Because if the answer is no, then I need to do it myself. But I need to do it myself and not be mad, right? So having the conversation, communicating, right? And understanding that if you at least communicate with people and you let them know what it is that you desire, and if they tell you I can do it. Now, if they don't do it, that's another conversation in the time frame that they agreed upon, right? Because then that's like boundaries. And then that's a conversation that you need to have with them. But understand, some people speak and react from their wounds. Some feelings are deceptive, but wounds are real. What have I been afraid to say and why? So sometimes there are things that need to be said that aren't said because you're afraid of how the person's going to react. Or how about you just don't want to deal with their reaction? Sometimes let me give you the perfect example. So I had some drama going on in my family, and I hate drama. I think most of us would say we hate drama. I hate drama. And I was trying to stay out of it and stay away from it. However, every time the conversation came up, I participated with someone else, right? So could have been gossip. It could have been, again, me adding to the drama or venting, whatever it was. The point is, I was not communicating well. I wasn't handling well. Finally, I had a conversation directly with the person that was initiating all the drama. And it kind of came in a way that the person saying, I value you, and I'm upset that I feel like you don't want to interact with me. Yeah, well, I don't want to interact with drama, right? But we were able to talk it out and come to an understanding that, hey, these are my boundaries, right? And if we can honor each other's boundaries, then I'm all here for us being able to have a conversation and communicate. And now it's allowed me to stop having conversations outside of just going directly to the person. Because I also was hating the conversation. Like I was even feeling shame myself because I was like, this is not healthy communication. So sometimes we get stuck in something that we allow, and then we start to feel it's a cycle. We start to feel the shame, the guilt, No, 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 we're stuck. We don't, then because we're ashamed, we don't really want to like kind of come out of the shell type of thing. Because it's like, let me just stay here outside of the drama, you know. So when we come out of it and we start to realize, oh, that kept me stuck, right? Delayed communication is another form of delayed healing. And this is your third reset. So this is your sign to have the hard conversation. Be honest with yourself first. Know the best time to be honest with others. So this was so important for me to learn, because if you know when you were young and your parents, if they were having an argument, if they were upset over something, maybe they just walked through the door from work, you just knew the time that you could not ask your parents for anything, right? If you wanted your friend to come over, if you wanted them to get you something, whatever, you knew, oh, I can't ask now because the answer is automatically going to be no, right? But you knew that if maybe your parent, your mom or dad or grandma, grandpa, whoever were in a good mood and that you were having great conversation, that that might be the moment you could slip in that ask. It's kind of like that now in relationships. So understanding if someone is upset and someone is already on 1,000, that may not be the time for you to go in. As hard as it might be, it may be the moment to pause and just go to prayer and just understand and ask God for His timing in having the honest conversation. It doesn't mean don't have the conversation, but just know. So, someone's love language might be, we actually go, yeah, in here. So, knowing someone's love language, but here in this one, it says, do you listen well? Do you listen to you well? So, when your body, when your mind is telling you, don't do this, do that, rest, stop, reset, take a minute. Do you listen to yourself? Or do you push through and you keep going? And then you get frustrated. And then you're wondering, why am I so frustrated? Why am I struggling? Why? But you didn't listen to you. And so many times, that you voice is sometimes the God voice, is the Holy Spirit guiding you so that you can be in a better place and so you can be well. Do you listen to others well? What is your love language? Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages. I think understanding your love language and the people around you is so important. I will never forget when we took the love language, our whole entire home, myself and my children, we took the love language quiz. There's one for spouses, there's one for teens, and there's one for kids. And we had everyone take the love language quiz. And I have a daughter that is very like, don't touch me, don't give me, like, just keep your distance, hi, very quiet. And so I spent years giving her space because I didn't want to be too like overbearing, because I'm very affectionate. So my kids all know I am huggy, I am just loving on them, like all the things. This child, I would give her space. And I believe she was 16 or 17. She takes the quiz, and guess what her love language was? Affection. Or wait, affection or physical touch? I think it was physical touch. And I kid you not, like my eyes filled with tears and I could have cried, like hysterically thinking of all the years that I gave her space and what she needed was for me to touch her. So when I tell you, I got her test results and I just like went in and like hugged her and just held her. And I was like, I am so sorry that all I've been doing is giving you space. And what you probably really wanted was a hug. Like, it literally just, it wrecked me. And I said to her, I said, girlfriend, I said, I hope you're ready. Because from here on out, when I see you, when we're around each other, I'm touching you. Put my hands on your face. I'm gonna like love on you. So, what are the love languages? What triggers you in communication? And I think I said this before. And if I didn't, again, your triggers are connected to your wounds. Your triggers are connected to something that happened to you, something that was done to you. And sometimes that journaling, the writing it out, the processing it will help you identify what it is. And then you can start your healing. 4, master your reaction. Detox your mind and your actions. So triggers are a sign. Self-control will take you further than you can ever imagine. Who or what controls you? Remember who controls it all. This is your 4th reset. Sometimes you think you are in control of everything, but you don't realize that this little hand here that's got the strings attached is all of your triggers, and this is you. So you think you're in control, but actually your explosive personality or your mouth or whatever happened is what's actually controlling you. A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Proverbs 25:28. Self-control comes through surrender to God first, the need to control others or situations, and to the moments that could actually produce more. Don't judge me, Dr. Heather, on my misspellings. I said to myself, send it to Heather so she can proofread. So when you surrender, sometimes we don't want to surrender. We want to maintain control of something because we think it's going to produce the most. It's going to be the best outcome. It's just, I got it, right? Like this I got it mentality. But when we surrender and we release is when we can truly see and learn that something can be so much bigger than we even imagine because we just surrendered it. Again, how are you really doing? Is there a tone, a word, a person, or a person that triggers you? I know my word is relax. If you tell me relax at the wrong time, that word could be taken in a whole different way. Right? So my kids and my husband and I, listen, God's still working on me. They can still in a moment of like, they can go relax. And it takes me to the high heavens. Takes me to a whole nother place. But guess what? That word was a trigger word for my mother. So there you go. Something I can process after I get off this phone call. Did your home lack control as a child? Did you move around a lot? Were people coming and going? What was your home environment like? Your desire for control could be linked to the lack of control in your home as a child. So, of course, now it's natural to want to control it all. So you never have to feel unsafe or a lack of security. Do you need to heal so you can surrender? What do you need to heal so you can surrender? I said we were going to pause after that, but we're going to pause at the end. Break the cycle. Remember where you came from and know where you're going. So in the book, this is reflect and project. It's basically reflection. Remember where you came from, right? Memories. Some are amazing, some are not. But remembering does something. Memories allow you to know what to do and not do. And this is your fifth reset. Sometimes we need to remember why we started. And if you were in any of my coaching groups or did coaching with me, you would know and remember 7 levels deep, because it's the very first thing I do, I think, with everyone. And 7 levels deep, what that is asking yourself why 7 times. So this can be for almost anything. So let's say you want a better job. I want a promotion, or I want a better job. Okay, why? Because I don't feel fulfillment in my job. Why don't you feel fulfillment in your job? I don't feel fulfillment in my job because it's I don't feel fulfillment in my job because it's not where I want to be. Why isn't it where you want to be? It's not where I want to be because I feel called to be in another space. Why do you feel called to be in another space? That's 4. I feel called to be in another space because I know I'm called to help people. Why are you called to help people? That's 5. I am called to help people because because it was hard for me to find help when I was looking for help. So now I want to be the help for people. Why was it hard for you to find help? And why do you want to be the help? This is 6. It was hard for me to find help because I didn't really have a lot of money. And so I couldn't afford the help I wanted. And I didn't have people around. I didn't have a community. Why didn't you have a community? Why didn't you have the money? Right? That's 7. And then here at 7 is usually where you get to like the deepest level of why. Right? So why didn't you have, and this is just an example I'm throwing out there. Why didn't you have the money or have the community? I didn't have the money or have the community because I didn't feel smart enough to go to college. And when I did go to college, I just kind of went for anything that I thought would make me the money, but really didn't. And da 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 da. And then I felt isolated and da da da. So when you went 7 levels, you got to this place that you did not feel worthy. You did not feel smart enough. You didn't feel like enough. And that's why you want the promotion. So all of these other reasons that you were giving were part of it. But that deepest level, you usually find it at 7. And that was something that I learned in, again, Tony Robbins training. Actually, it was another masterclass that I did with them. And they taught this. And so many times when you get to level 7, you're like boo-hooing, crying, because you're like, oh my gosh, that's actually why. Believe in yourself and in your calling. Your purpose is needed by the people called to you. This is your 6th reset. So believing in yourself is linked to your purpose. If you don't believe in yourself, you can't walk in your purpose. And there are people connected to your purpose. Believing in who and what you're called to, it builds legacy. This is where the mountains are moved. The final thing is do the thing. Action brings transformation. Take action. On the other side of obedience is breakthrough. I just did a post on this. Every act of obedience takes you closer to your true identity. Take action, do the thing, love the person, create the life, write the book, build the business. Start now. Thank you. All right. Everybody needs to breathe. Hey, ladies, thank you so much for watching my masterclass. If you just finished watching this and you are thinking, this is me, you've been feeling stuck in patterns, like something feels off in your life and something needs to change, but you're not sure exactly how to do it, this masterclass was just the beginning. But the real transformation doesn't just happen from hearing it once. It happens when you're actually walking it out each and every day, processing it, and working through the healing that needs to happen. And that's exactly why I created Recreate You, an 8-week live experience where I walk you through healing, renewing your mindset, and rebuilding your life from the inside out. We will go through the same process in my book, walking through forgiveness, understanding, true love, communication, self control, breaking cycles, shifting your beliefs, and actually taking action. This is for the woman that is ready to heal, that is ready to stop repeating patterns, and to start living the life that she was created for. So there are 2 ways to join. You can join the standard experience where you will be a part of the full 8-week journey. And there's the VIP experience where you'll be part of the 8-week journey along with additional support and coaching from me. We start Monday, May 4th at 7 p.m. And I would truly love to be on this journey with you. Spots are limited because I want to keep this personal and impactful, so be sure that you don't wait and join today. So go ahead and click the link around this video, reserve your spot, and let's begin your Recreate journey. I look forward to seeing you there.